No, it's part of. Listen, man, it's part. I always say that we have to be very entrepreneurial. Like I got my like at any given time, I've got like I'm pitching a TV show, I'm working on a movie, I'm writing a book, I'm trying to get an app going, I'm tweeting. We have to be entrepreneurial because ultimately we are our own product. And everything that comes, you look at Woody Allen. When Woody Allen started making movies, he took all of his jokes and started putting them into his movies. When I made my movie, I took some of the jokes and I put them in my movie. When I would pitch my TV show 2 years ago, I pitched a TV show to CBS and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to pitch. And I was like, wait a minute. I've been working on this the whole time on stage. I go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the story about the Russian basketball coach with my son in the room. That'll get him laughing. I'll talk about my Guatemalan nanny. And I'll talk about my 2 kids won't let me sleep. And I just went in and pitched, and they were like, we love it. But I hadn't even thought about it. I didn't have to sit there from the start and go, what is it? I go, I know what it is. It's this material, right? So we're constantly writing. We're constantly being, and that's a beautiful thing. I tell a lot of people from a lot of different aspects. You know, people think, how do I make it? How do I go, don't worry about that. Just create your own opportunities. Just keep finding ways to create your own. And we're in the trenches doing that, and it's a great thing. That's why Roseanne brought those people. That's why when I go out to pitch a show, I'm trying to convince the producers that I'm pitching with to go, listen, I don't want some dude that I don't know who is a showrunner who used to write on Taxi 30 years ago, but because he did that, he continues to run shows. We have a totally different sensibility. You can put me in a room with him and say, give him your ideas, he's going to turn this into a show. I don't need to do that. I got 10 guys at the Comedy Store who I know are good writers, who are my buddies. We got the rhythms down. Let me bring them in. Let's come up with some funny ass shit, and then let's go to this network, this cable network, because cable network will probably be more likely to do this.
Absolutely.
Here you go. This is what it is. You know, this is what it is. Let us do our own thing, like the guys did with Workaholics. They did their own thing, and now they're doing it. You know, so you need to kind of, you do need to control it. You do need to stop, having people push stuff on you, and you need to prove yourself over and over and over again. We proved ourselves with the Axis of Evil comedy tour. Before the Axis of Evil comedy tour, nobody thought there was a market for comedians of a Middle Eastern background. They're like, what is that at all? Right? They didn't get it. There's black comedy, there's Latino comedy, right? Regular comedy, there's alternative comedy. Who's going to come see a bunch of Middle Eastern guys? And we had to go out and start booking our own. We eventually got our own theater in DC and sold out 1,400 seats. And then we went to San Francisco and sold out 1,000 seats. And then that's when our managers and agents were like, who was the promoter? We go, we were the promoter. They go, how'd that happen? We go, people want to hear this. This is during the Bush administration. There's a lot of lying and bullshit going on, and we're calling them on it. And people, not just Middle Easterners, but white people, liberals were coming out going like, oh, we love this shit. So we go, wow, there's an audience for this. So that finished, and it's continued now. For me, I've continued to tour. There's an audience. But like you were saying, try to convince some of these networks that there's an audience for this. Let's try and push one of these. They still are probably, they were nervous to get, Christella back on. They were nervous to get a Latina on. They're nervous when they get Blackish. Oh, it's a hit. They're like, how's this a hit?
Did you not have a Chinese show?
Yeah.
A Japanese show on ABC?
Yeah.
They went all out. They said, fuck it. We got to get the Japanese market. And they got a fucking Indian show cooking. And they got a couple of Iranians in the back room.
But that's the problem. No, but that's the problem is that I think that they feel like there's not going to be an audience, but there is if you do it right, if you get the grassroots going, and you got to keep proving yourself. Because that's where I am with this movie right now, is trying to prove myself again and go, look, there's an audience for this. Let's get this out there. Because ultimately, it's amazing to me because you think everybody knows you until you go somewhere and you do a show and someone comes up and goes, who are you? Why haven't I? You get somebody like some big wig from Sony or something walking up. Where have you been? Where have I been? I've been at the Comedy Store for 15 years.
Where the fuck have you been?
Where have you been? But that's the problem. But here's the problem, though. You also can't blame them because they're in their world, right? We're ultimately a product. We're Coca-Cola, and they haven't seen. We're Coca-Cola's knockoff. We're the soda that they haven't seen. They're used to seeing because every time there's a movie being pitched, they're going, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to get Will Ferrell, and we're going to get Ben Stiller, and we're going to get. And these guys are great guys, by the way. I'm not them. I'm just saying that's what happens. We're gonna get this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and there's a new kid who's friends with Will Ferrell, so we're gonna get him in too, and that's it. That's
but
all
you
they
said
see.
the key word. I gotta piss real quick.
Go,
Keep the conversation. You said the key fucking word, and the key word in this conversation was outside the box. They refuse to think outside the box, and they get the same results over and over. I understand Sony's a corporation, and they're going to put out 22 projects a year, and 18 of them are going to be successful, and 4 of them are going to be horrible, and they expect that. But to take those 4 projects and keep rewriting them with the same fucking people is what baffles me. You know, there's a movie coming out, Dirty Grandpa, with De Niro and Josh Efron, the good-looking kid.
Right.
Zac Efron. Funny. What I read was funny. They have a role in there that if you see it on paper, it's me. It's me. My agent says pot smoke, an older guy, goes to a fucking resort town and stays. You know, opens up a bodega, whatever the fuck he does. He's into gambling and drugs. You know, not a bad guy. He's not a criminal. He's just one of those guys that's a fucking loser. That's me. No. We gotta go with Zach Robinson, Craig Robinson, or the guy from Portlandia. Not for nothing. You know, it's been done. Let's think somebody. They don't. They refuse.
Yeah.
Then they get the same fucking results, and they can't figure out what the fuck is happening. My pet peeve right now is comedy clubs that don't know about a podcast. That you get there and they look at you like, so how many people are performing? It's a podcast. So is it singing and dancing? It's a podcast. So it's a fucking podcast. Are you a fucking moron? Do you know what's going on, you fucking moron? It's 2015 and you're putting a list of people. Well, how much stand-up time are they doing? It's a podcast. Well, how many people are going to be going up during the podcast? And how much time? You've been there. You've sat there and have heard it. You don't want to do business with those people. Because this has been going on now for 5 fucking years. And you're a manager of comedy or whatever the fuck you are. You know, there's a story when Maron went to his management and said, I'm starting a podcast. They looked at him and said, what?
Yeah.
And he said, bye. And look what happened today. Look what happened today. How can you as a manager or anything not listen to your client and get, let me go see what he's doing. Let me go see what this, you're onto something. I'm not going to baffle you on the phone. As a client, you're going to go, really? 15 years and you're telling me my idea sucks? Bye. Some other manager picked him up. He's on IFC, my friend. It's not ABC. It's not HBO.
He's doing his thing.
Politically Correct started on Comedy Central, did it not? And then they went to fucking ABC. Nobody remembers that shit, did it?
Yeah.
I got to go pee. I don't
Go
know
take
if it's
a piss.
the old days, the 5. I don't know
That's
what the
all right.
fuck it is.
It's all right.
Lee, keep him on ice like Tony Montana. We're going in like fucking Marines. You understand me?
Welcome to church, motherfucker.